Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify something I think we all have a little bit of trauma from: the universally dreaded printer support ticket. Seriously, if you've ever worked in IT, or honestly, just tried to print a really important document at the absolute last second, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to break down how these things actually work, transforming these mysterious, frustrating boxes into logical, easily understandable systems.
Let's just validate your real-world experience for a second. Why do printers generate such a constant, endless stream of support tickets in schools, offices, and homes? Well, it's because they aren't just simple standalone boxes. They're actually really complex, multi-layered systems. When someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, the printer is broken," the actual physical hardware sitting on the desk might be perfectly fine. The real culprit? It could be a paused software queue, a bad cable, the wrong default setting, or honestly, just an empty paper tray.
So, to solve these problems efficiently, we're going to take a technician's journey through all this complexity. Here is our roadmap. We'll look at the print path, the 4 types of printers, paper and virtual printing, setup, sharing, and cloud features, and finally, some hardcore troubleshooting.
All right, part 1, the print path. Okay, let's dive right into this. Before we even lay a finger on a physical printer, we have to understand the relay race a digital document runs just to become a physical page. The print path is very much a multi-step process. First, your document starts in an application, like Word or a web browser. When you hit print, it doesn't just shoot straight to the machine, it goes to the Windows print queue. From there, the printer driver steps in. Think of the driver as a translator that converts your document into a specific language that the printer hardware understands. Finally, the data gets sent to the printer itself. If the baton drops at literally any of these steps, the document won't print. A good tech always checks these layers in order.
Moving on to part 2, the 4 types of printers.
So diving into the hardware layer, we basically categorize this physical beast into one of 4 main types. And knowing these categories is absolutely crucial because they all work fundamentally differently. You've got impact, inkjet, laser, and thermal. If you understand how they physically get an image onto a piece of paper, you'll instantly understand what they're best at, what their weaknesses are, and exactly how they tend to break. Let's start with impact printers, which are often called dot matrix printers. Now, you might be thinking, wait, aren't those ancient? But they are far from obsolete. They work by using tiny pins in a printhead to physically strike an inked ribbon right against the paper. Because they use actual physical force to press through the page, they are the absolute only choice for creating multi-part carbon copy forms. You are still going to see these heavily used in warehouses, banks, and shipping departments today. Next up, we have the inkjet. Instead of striking a ribbon, inkjets literally spray tiny, super precise drops of liquid ink through nozzles right onto the paper. They're quiet, they produce fantastic color output, and that makes them incredibly popular for home use and photos. But listen, there is a massive gotcha here for support techs. Because they use liquid ink, if you leave an inkjet unused for a few weeks, that ink is going to dry out and clog the tiny nozzles. That means missing colors or completely smeared output. Now, when we shift to office environments, laser printers completely dominate, hands down. They're fast, they're reliable, and they handle high volumes of text perfectly. But instead of liquid ink, they use a fine powder called toner. And the process to get that powder permanently onto the page, it's highly technical.
It is actually a 7-step imaging process. It goes from processing the digital image to charging an internal drum, exposing it with a laser, developing the toner, transferring it to the paper, fusing it permanently with heat, and then cleaning the drum for the next page. That fusing step, that brings us to a huge pro tip. The fuser assembly gets incredibly hot. Never, ever touch a hot fuser right after printing. You will get burned. Oh, and if toner powder spills, do not vacuum it with a standard vacuum. It'll blow right through the filter. You need proper, specialized cleanup equipment for that.
Finally, we've got thermal printers. These use zero ink or toner. Nothing. Instead, a heated printhead applies heat directly to special, heat-sensitive paper that just naturally darkens when it gets warmed up. This is exactly what prints your retail receipts and shipping labels. The biggest issue to watch out for here, because the paper reacts to heat, if you store those receipts in a hot place, like, say, on a car dashboard in the middle of summer, the text is going to fade away completely. Just totally gone.
All right, part 3, paper and virtual printing.
So we've talked about the hardware, but honestly, hardware is only half the battle. The media we print on and how we handle digital output is just as crucial. First off, paper really matters. You always have to match your paper to your hardware type. Inkjets need ink-absorbent paper. Lasers need heat-tolerant paper. Using a wrong type, or using paper that's gotten warped by high humidity, is practically a guarantee for a paper jam. But remember, printing doesn't always have to be physical. Virtual printing, like the built-in Windows Print to PDF feature, is a brilliant troubleshooting trick. If a user can successfully print to a PDF but not to their physical printer on the desk, you instantly know the document and the application are perfectly fine. The problem is isolated entirely to the printer, the driver, or the connection.
Section 4. Printer Setup and Installation.
Getting these devices set up right from day one saves so many headaches later, especially with modern multifunction devices, or MFDs, that combine printing, scanning, and copying into one giant unit. Take a basic USB installation, for example. It's usually straightforward, but there are strict best practices. Always connect the USB cable directly to the computer. Bypassing unpowered USB hubs avoids a ton of weird connectivity issues. And absolutely, under no circumstances, should you skip printing a test page right after setup. That test page confirms your driver, your cable, and the hardware are all talking perfectly before the user actually needs to rely on it.
Once it's all physically connected, you'll manage everything in the Windows environment right here on the Printers and Scanners settings page. Think of this as your command center for tracking queues, checking statuses, and configuring the device itself. Now listen up, because I want to clear up a classic beginner mistake. In these settings, you are going to see two options that sound identical but do totally different things. Printing preferences control job-level choices. This is where you tell it to print double-sided or in color, just for the specific document you're printing right now. Printer properties, on the other hand, those are device-level settings. That's where you dig deep to change the network ports, update the driver itself, or manage security. Do not mix those up.
Part 5. Sharing and Cloud Features.
Let's look at how we extend our reach far beyond just a single computer. There are a few ways to share a printer. Dedicated network printers connect straight to your Wi-Fi or Ethernet and just handle themselves. But if you share a basic USB printer through a specific user's PC, basically turning that PC into a mini print server, you have to remember the classic trap. If that host PC goes to sleep or gets turned off for the day, printing instantly breaks for everyone else on the network. We've also got cloud printing, which is awesome for sending a job from your phone to the office while you're commuting. Just remember, since printers are handling sensitive data, you always need to double-check your privacy and access controls.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, Maintenance and Troubleshooting. Okay, let's get down to business. This is the climax of our technician's journey, systematically solving problems when things inevitably break. Preventing tickets starts right here with routine maintenance, and it completely depends on your printer category. Impact printers, they need fresh ribbons and paper alignments. Inkjets need you to run their software cleaning utilities to clear out those clogged nozzles. For laser printers, you have to apply physical maintenance kits to replace worn rollers. And crucially, do not forget this, you have to manually reset the printer's internal maintenance counter afterward, or it'll just keep flashing error lights at you. Thermal printers, they just need their heating elements gently wiped down and kept free of dust.
But when things do break, you need a system. This flowchart, it's your Bible. Good troubleshooting is always systematic. Please do not immediately start replacing expensive toner cartridges or imaging drums right out of the gate. Start with the simplest physical checks. Does it actually have power? Is the cable plugged in? Then move to the software queue and the drivers. Only after checking the simple connection layers should you start suspecting a major hardware failure.
You gotta match the symptom directly to the hardware check. Faded print? That usually means your supply, whether it's ink, toner, or ribbon, is low. Physical streaks or lines running down the page? That points to damaged rollers or maybe a scratched laser drum. For paper jams, check the path for tiny pieces of torn paper and verify they're using the right paper type. But remember, the ultimate golden rule of IT. If a job is stubbornly stuck in the queue and absolutely nothing is happening, restarting the Windows Print Spooler service is basically your magic bullet to get things flowing again.
So we have covered a lot of ground today, right from the digital queue all the way down to the physical hardware mechanisms of lasers and inkjets. By approaching printers not as mysterious, frustrating boxes, but as logical, multi-layered systems, you're now fully equipped to tackle any printing ticket that comes your way. So the next time someone walks up to your desk and drops that dreaded phrase, "Hey, the printer's broken," just pause, think about the whole system, and ask yourself, which layer of the print path are you going to check first? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy troubleshooting